What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go. What is happening, everybody? How are we doing? You know I need you to subscribe to this page so you never miss anything. All of our videos are brought to you by my friends at Zone Pouches. Today, we are going to do a big mailbag. And part of that mailbag, we might split it into two. It might be pretty long. So you guys know the drill. At John Middlekauff. At John Middlekauff is the Instagram. DMs are wide open. Fire in those DMs. Questions answered right here on the show. And let's dive in right now. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Underage sale prohibited. If you're as competitive as I am, you're always looking for something to help you stay dialed in. And for me, that thing is Zone nicotine pouches. You won't catch me without it. Listen, I got the mint. I've been looking for the dragon fruit. My Chevron's out of it, but mint's. I think I'm playing golf tomorrow afternoon. I'll go through 10 of these, no problem. But here's the great part: these have 20 pouches per can, where the other guys they only offer 15. So choose Zone and dominate the day. Use the promo code 3andOut. That's the number 3andOut 20 on nicokick.com/zone for 20% off at checkout. We'll start with Matthew. Like the Sunday night recap. Question for the bag. Do you think the top coaches are underpaid? Thinking about from a job like the Patriots, the Bears, and the Broncos this year, whatever they are paying their coaches, they're getting a discount. Look what Harbaugh did with the Chargers last year. Look what Schottenheimer is doing with the banged up, I think you mean Shanahan, but I know what you mean, 49ers. And some of the top college coaches that are bringing in millions for the university are the top 15% of coaches underpaid when you think about it. And if an owner goes cheap on a coach again, they are to blame when the teams collapse. Been saying it forever. Let's use Andy as an example, right? He's been the most successful over the last 6 or 7 years. Obviously, this year, down year for their standards. But 5 Super Bowls, 6 years. The amount of home games they've had, they've hosted the AFC Championship game every year beside the one where they played the Ravens. And they've won the division every year. So the amount of money and equity he's made as owner, the equivalent in the private sector of companies worth billions of dollars, these CEOs of companies, and that's what Coach Reed is. Patrick Mahomes is compensated, right, for his skills. $450 million contract. And as that rolls over, he'll get more guaranteed money. So he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars playing for the Chiefs. And then on top of that, what he's going to make off the field. Well, if Coach Reed, let's just say he's making $15 million a year, maybe it's 18. You could argue the going rate should be double that. The problem is it's all based on what your position in other places are making. And it's like, well, the highest paid coach is making 17. Well, it's like, I don't care. Look at the real world, and my job should be paying the value I bring to you, the stability I bring to the organization. I'd argue $40 million. Seriously. I mean, the 49ers were dead when Kyle got there. He's taken them to multiple Super Bowls, a ton of NFC Championship games. They'll probably go back to the playoffs this year. What value is that to Jed York? He lives in Silicon Valley. I mean, Elon just signed $1 trillion pay package. Now, he's got to hit incentives, and he'll probably never make $1 trillion. But, these CEOs and presidents of these big companies make a ton. It's not like these coaches get any equity in the team, right? And the players, the high-end players are making so much money, rightfully so. I do think the top coaches are definitely underpaid. I think Ben Johnson, I think he's the Midwest Kyle Shanahan. I love everything Ben Johnson stands for. Serious, kind of old school for being a younger guy, and loves to run the ball. Well, guess what? That translates in freezing cold temperatures. So if I'm a Bears fan, I'm pretty fired up. How often does strength of schedule get factored into analyzing who the best teams are in the NFL? Do you think some of the teams get overinflated win totals due to playing easier schedules? I'm specifically thinking of the NFC North. Last year, the NFC West this year. Vikings looked like world beaters last year, but they also played the AFC South. Same with the NFC West this year. I definitely think it gets factored in. But you also got to factor, like, for example, the 49ers are going to win 10 games. Let's just assume where we sit here right now. They're 7-4. If they had a tough schedule with their injuries, they're probably winning 7 or 8. We all acknowledge that. But you can go, well, Seattle and the Rams, because of the divisions that they've drawn, the AFC and NFC South, are going to have maybe an inflated win total of 13 or 14 wins, but we acknowledge they're really good, right? When healthy, and those teams are healthy right now, are high end teams, right? Especially the Rams. Like the Rams also have a history of beating good people. I think sometimes, like with a 1 year wonder, like let's use the Viking situation. I think they could be in major trouble. I mean, their quarterback situation is an unmitigated disaster. There's no way around it, right? Let's face it. Let's use, and I use this with Colin. I give two examples. The 49ers are the luckiest team of all time. They traded 3 first-round picks for a guy that couldn't play, and they ended up going with their 7th-round pick, who now is on a $50 million a year contract, who just actually coming off the injury. Purdy was good yesterday. But, like, that's not normal. Usually when you make a quarterback mistake, you're screwed. Chris Ballard would be the first to tell you, like, we're very lucky this Daniel Jones thing is working out the way it is. Because without it, we'd have major, major problems. And luck's a huge part of quarterbacks, right? Like, Jason Light would be the first to tell you when we gave $4 million to Baker Mayfield, whatever, 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't expect it to turn out the way it's turned out. So it's part of life. Sometimes you get into business with someone and it booms, right? I think that it's pretty rare, though, with quarterback. It happens at a lot of random positions, like Zach Bond goes from like role player, special teams guy to all pro. That has happened countless times throughout the NFL. Mike Vrabel couldn't get on the field for the Steelers, goes to the Patriots with Belichick and becomes a star. Right? It's much more normal at linebacker, at slot receiver, at guard, right? At safety. It's very rare at quarterback, also because the premium you would pay for a good quarterback. So I definitely think we talk a lot about the schedule, but you can have an easy schedule and win a lot of games, and we go, that team's pretty good. You can also have an easy schedule and win a lot of games and go, I don't know, right? So I think we do a pretty good job at factoring that in nowadays. Massive fan. Like this guy. You always provide excellent insight. God, this guy's smart. Do you think the Bucs should move off Todd at the end of the year? You don't necessarily have to fire him, but move him in the front office and bring in new blood. He lacks intensity and is often outcoached. His unit, the defense, is usually atrocious in big games. I think they should have promoted Liam last year, but at this point, just bring in the best offensive coach and clean house. I think it's easy to say, and I think we kind of overanalyze Todd, who I was around for a little bit in Philadelphia. He's like his personality is his personality. Like you don't need to be like Andy Reid's not a yeller and a screamer. Like not everyone has to be some crazy Sean McVay, right? I do think it's fair though to question like he is a defensive guy. Now they've had some injuries. I do think when they're fully healthy, they're pretty good on defense, but it's not as easy to go, well, we should have fired him last year for Liam Cohen. That happens all the time, and that guy never gets fired. I mean, it happens all the time throughout just like the last 25 years. I'm like, God, we should have fired that guy and just made Sean Payton the coach. No one ever does that. Ever. So it's like I have like I understand. Like I don't even think that's a logical scenario to play out. Because it's you don't go to the playoffs back-to-back years and just get shit canned for Liam Cohen, who's never been a head coach. Hell, pretty sure he's only called plays in the NFL. That was his first year calling plays. So it'd be a pretty bold move. But yeah, looking back, I think if you could choose, I mean, they've had the game against the Texans obviously was desperate, but I think it's fair to say, like, Liam Cohen looks pretty good. So yeah, I think in this hypothetical world, if you could do a redo, like it's easy to say now. I just think that Jason Light's one of the best GMs in the league. Your team's going to have a lot of talent when healthy moving forward. And I think the question mark, also, Jason Light and the GM, like ultimately to extend a coach, I went on that rant about trades when it's like, well, the ownership has to, no, I mean, a trade idea is the coach. An extension with a coach or a GM, that is on ownership. How come it's okay for teams to squeak out a win like the Broncos, how they win always last minute and win ugly. But the Eagles win ugly and the sky is falling. Well, your standard's higher in Philadelphia. You've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. You are the defending champs. You blasted the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You obviously, Washington, you treated them like, your little brother in the NFC Championship game. And you're the best team in your division by a country mile. You're paying a lot of money for the team. So the standard is really, really high, right? No different than the Chiefs. We were nitpicking the Chiefs last year. They were en route to 15-2 in the number 1 overall seed. But it's like, they can barely win these games. That's part of the deal. When you're the best, you get nitpicked, right? Fair or not. But at the end of the day, you're 8-2. Who cares? Your offense isn't that good. It doesn't matter. The Chiefs' offense wasn't that good last year either. Didn't matter. If your defense is going to play like this, you got a pretty good chance to go back to the Super Bowl, especially if you can get home field. The Lions can't play outdoors. Are the Packers going to beat you? No chance. The 49ers, all their players are injured. Sam Darnold's going to go into Philadelphia and beat you, and Vic Fangio? How hard time seeing that? I guess the Rams could. The Rams are the one team that their weakness is the secondary, and your problem is your passing game doesn't really work. So I think that would be the one team that would make me nervous if I was an Eagles fan. But 8-2, we're the defending champs. We're going to like our chances to go back. So I'd feel pretty good about it. Today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. We talk a lot of football here on 3 and Out, but there's always something to bet on. The NBA, college hoops, hockey, sports are going full swing right now. When you sign up with Hard Rock Bet today, you could score $150 in bonus bets. You just have to place a $5 wager, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but you also get $150 in bonus bets. Hard Rock Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook whenever you're in Florida. And it's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and coming soon from more states near you. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos every single day. So whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what you've got on any given day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app today and make your first deposit. I want your take on my Lions. Do you think we can ever really win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff? I like him, but I can't unsee the fact that when you put him outside in 35-degree weather, he looks completely out of sorts. He's wearing 2 gloves and a turtleneck like he's in fucking Alaska. Also, the 2 gloves. I'm sorry, you wear 2 gloves. It's hard for me. I think someone texted me last night that Peyton Manning, when he got older, or maybe when he was younger, I need to Google that. Did he wear 2 gloves against the Patriots in a couple of those games? Obviously, Goff, one of the knocks is he's got smaller hands. But I guess the question is, also, if you feel any sort of pressure, he looks shook the entire game. The John Morton situation is a disaster. Did our window close with Ben Johnson and when he left? I think you could win a Super Bowl if your team is healthy and you're hosting games in Detroit. Is Jared Goff going to go on the road to Philadelphia, to Green Bay, and win games? Probably not. Right? Could he go on the road to LA in the Dome and win a game? Yes. Could he go on the road to Seattle in a driving rainstorm and win a game? Probably not. So weather is a major factor with him. But you guys play in a dome. And last year you lost at home and he didn't play well. So he's not a perfect player, right? He's like the best version of Kirk Cousins, right? But the problem with Kirk Cousins is once you start hitting him, Kirk Cousins, has won a bunch of games. When not this version, but when he was younger, right? But you start hitting him, there's no ad lib. That's the one thing that all these quarterbacks have. Like if you just look at the top 15 quarterbacks, they all can move and throw. Some do it better, Lamar, Josh, but the Herberts, the Mahomes, even Purdy, Dak, who I'm recording this before Monday Night Football, is obviously with some of the injuries not the same athlete. I got to have you be able to move and throw. If you can't move and throw, I'm kind of out on you. Now, Jared Goff is a good pocket quarterback, but he's really benefited. Your offensive line was elite. And now your offensive line's not quite as good. Laporta's out. He can't, he's not a guy that can just carry the operation. And I think a huge part of that is one, his limitations are his limitations, but he brings nothing to the table with like extending plays. And then the cold weather, like I mentioned this on Sunday night, it is 100% a thing. From California, we do not like cold weather because we're not used to it. And you go, well, he's lived in Detroit now several years. True, but I would imagine that once it gets cold, they practice inside and obviously they play inside. And then a lot of their games, all the home games, and even the Minnesota game is inside. If you remember a couple years ago, Aaron Rodgers' last game in Green Bay, Goff actually played pretty well outside in that Green Bay game. That was pretty cold. Do you think the Patriots will do well in the playoffs, assuming we win the division? Well, if you win the division, I would say you have, a pretty decent chance, maybe around 50% to be the number one seed. Winning the division for you is probably 14 wins. Now, I don't exactly know how the tiebreakers would go. Let's just say in a hypothetical world, you, Denver, and Indy are all 13-4. Let's say the Bills too. You guys are all 13-4, but you win the division, the Bills don't. So it's just between. I don't know how the tiebreakers would work. I think when it's a 3-team, it goes to like conference. Again, we're a little far away from that right now, but there's a big difference. That number one seed, you just have to win 2 games. So if you just win 1, you're in the AFC Championship game at home. Now, if you got to win 3, that gets a little more difficult, especially if in like the first round, you're playing. It also depends who you're playing. Like, would I like the Patriots versus the Jags? Yeah, I like your shot. Patriots versus the Colts? Like, yeah, I think you'd have a decent shot. But if you get like the 2 seed and let's say the 7 seed is the Chiefs or the Texans, like, it's a pretty tough defense for Drake. So it's like it would be possible for you to lose in the first round. With Myles Garrett having another huge sack day against the Ravens Sunday, he has 15 total sacks, and it's about to be week 12. Assuming he stays healthy, is he a lock for the Defensive Player of the Year? I'm bad with awards. I guess I don't look at them like the people that vote on them. I think it's been pretty clear he's the best defensive player in the league for, I don't know, going on 5-ish years, ever since Aaron Donald. I guess Aaron Donald's he quit a couple years, and even that last year wasn't quite peak Aaron Donald, but it basically went for a decent long stretch. It was like Khalil and Aaron Donald were pretty equal. Then Aaron Donald was like clearly the best player, and then now for the 2020s, like Myles Garrett's the best player. When they had the joint practice this training camp against the Eagles, and Jordan Mailata was like, the entire offensive line was in the film room, and we were just laughing. We're like, is this guy human? What am I supposed to do? There are certain ways certain players talk about other players where you just go, this guy's in a different. There's a reason that every guy in their 50s and 60s that you see on Instagram that played in the NBA in the 80s and 90s that tell a story about Michael Jordan, they all have a consistent theme. They talk about him like a mythological figure. Myles Garrett is clearly the best defensive player. So I thought Cleveland should have traded him. It's like you're losing all these games. You could have traded him. What would the Lions or the Eagles or, the Packers, because you'd rather have Myles Garrett than Micah Parsons, what would they have traded for Myles Garrett? Now, he's older than Micah, but you're at minimum getting like 3 elite years, like Hall of Fame dominant years. And if you look at Reggie White, who signed with the Packers, I think at like 31, 32 years old, went on to have like a Hall of Fame career with the Packers. So if you go, hey, if we take 5 years, would you trade 2 1s, 2 2s, and like a player? I just think they got to regret that one. Now, I think if you're a fan of not the Eagles, it does feel like the Eagles would have ended up with him. So if you aren't an Eagles fan, maybe you're like, yeah, I'm glad they kept him. I wouldn't want to see him on it. Because hell, we're seeing the Eagles with Jordan, with Phillips. You're like, imagine that if that was Myles Garrett. Not really a mailbag question, but I was listening to Colin's podcast, and there is no free ads here, blank ad in the podcast. And I know you just brought on Zone Pouches. Does that work because they're technically 2 different podcasts? They're still on the same feed, so I was curious. Yeah, it's like a different business entity, right? My podcast is separate for his podcast. like where I might have there are people on the volume that have, again, I'm not going to say the name of this sponsor because I have a sponsor in the same category that is a different company. And we will do business. I mean, Jerry Jones was once asked, I remember they said, why'd you name the stadium AT&T? And he said, because they offered, I forget the numbers, like, 10 years, $250 million. I'm a whore. I mean, we're businessmen. I mean, that's people offer more money. That's why we take them. And the other thing is, Zone was supposed to come on my podcast maybe a couple years ago. We started talking to them, and they sent me a bunch, and I've used the product. Like when I talk about most of this stuff, especially our big sponsors like Gametime, every event, whether it's a concert or a game I've been to over the last 2 years, I have used Gametime. Just like these pouches, I'm sucking them down for really, I mean, consistently now a while. I'm pretty sure I got a huge package from them. I don't know if it was late 2023 or early 2024. Like I'm pretty adamant. I try to work with things that I use because it makes it pretty easy to sell. But we can sell, like I'm open for business on this podcast, regardless what a category that Colin might have, unless it gets sold like Hard Rock Bet gets sold on throughout the shows, right? So that's just one that's kind of getting an umbrella treatment, but not every advertiser is looking for that. Some just rightfully so. Like I don't get BMW ads. Now, granted, I don't drive a BMW, but Colin advertised with stuff that I would, no problem. I'm kind of in the business for looking for a new car for. It has to be big though. Before we dive into a couple more things, I do need to tell you about my friends at Gametime, best ticketing app in America. So if you want to go to a football game, a professional football game, anywhere around the country, you want to travel, you want to watch your team on the road, you're a Chiefs fan, you want to go watch them play in Denver, is your team going to Vegas, you want to go to Vegas for the weekend, any game. They have incredible flash deals. They have tickets for as low as $100. The price you see on the app is the price you will pay for the ticket. There are no hidden fees when you check out. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code JOHN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code JOHN for $20. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Hope everything is well. But what are your thoughts about players spitting on each other? Since when did this start being cool? Do you feel Jamar Chase should be fined or suspended? I've always defended players when they get into it with the ref and get technicals in basketball or get a personal foul penalty in football for like screaming obscenities. Like this is their livelihood. And if it fails, they will get cut. They will get put on the unemployment line. And that's my always issues with officiating. I never feel like they get thrown to the unemployment line. I feel like they can screw up. I saw this clip. I don't know when it was from, probably this weekend. The Utah Jazz got a technical foul because a guy fell on the court. So like two ball boys ran up with kind of their swifter, the towel thing to take away all the sweat from the floor. And the Jazz got a tech, and their coach went bananas. He said, "Did we just get a technical for delay of game because the ball boys came out to dry the floor?" And Mark Davis, who is a complete clown. I mean, some of these officials in the NBA, no wonder the DOJ is all over the NBA's ass. I mean, talk about shady shit. It's been going on forever. But that was, I would turn these people into the authorities. Like that something doesn't add up there. But if Draymond's got a lot of these, right? Listen, Draymond deserves a lot of technical fouls when he's hitting people in the throat or kicking their, sternum or whatever. But if I just yell swear words at you, I'm sorry. There's a lot of money on the line for all this stuff. This is not high school football. This is not, junior high softball. We're not teaching life lessons here. There are no life lessons being taught in professional sports. So swearing, I hate when people get in trouble for that. To me, the spitting thing is like I don't even know how to categorize it. It should be an auto suspension. If you spit on another player from another team, Like to me, the things that people get fined for, like he tackled him a little hard. He uh he hip drop tackled. I saw someone got a hip drop tackle, and it definitely was not a hip drop tackle. I'm like, no, that's just a tackle. You should, if I haven't even, I refuse. Like some of these stories, I just don't have the mental capacity for. So I didn't like see the breakdown of the video, but I did see a headline. It's pretty clear that the replay shows him spitting on him. And if Jamar Chase spitting on Jalen Ramsey, like he should get suspended next game, no pay. Like that's just that cannot be tolerated. And I would say the same thing. That's any level of football, whether it's college, whether it's junior peewees, whether it's high school football. You spit on another person, you just get suspended. Like I'm sorry. Even if it's like, hey man, I didn't mean to. My emotions got the best. Yeah, it's called emotional control. And if you don't have it, you get penalized for it. So like I have no problem being a little over aggressive when it comes to penalizing spitting on another player on an opposing team. What do you think is wrong with the Chiefs? Lifelong fan, live in Kansas City. Despite my profile pic, I'm 27. That's my dad. I think it's Mahomes. I can't really say this to my friends, but like, dude, has not been clutch at all this year. And the defense has picked us up for 2 years, so I'm not blaming them. It just has not been coming through. Do you agree? Also, if you watch the game, he overthrows every deep ball. He's been overthrowing them for a while. I feel like his deep ball accuracy has been off now, even going back to last year, but I'm with you. He overthrows worthy. He misses some throws now. And the pick he had in the end zone, he wasn't good. I mean, it's okay to be like he wasn't that good. But here's a reality. Like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have been objectively better than him the last couple years, right? Lamar had that stretch, was clearly better, and Josh Allen is a better player right now. But he's got him in the playoffs. So it's like when it's all mattered, and both those guys have had their opportunities and they could not get it done. So he's had that over them. And he benefits a lot from fantastic coaching. But yeah, he can be a little hit or miss at times. And yesterday was not his finest hour. Had some throws that were there to be made and did not make them, and Bo did. Now, I'm not going to write him off, and I'm a big believer in when you build up a resume, some people get the benefit of the doubt. But he's had some moments over the last couple of years that have been a little up and down. He also comes through at times, but he's had some killer moments. And yesterday, he had some killer moments, which is crazy because the two guys that really came to play, I mean, Kelsey and Chris Jones were elite. It's like, hey, we got three Hall of Famers on this team, right? Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, and Chris Jones. Two of them showed up to kick ass and take names. Two of them showed up. My team needs me. With this game, our season feels on the line. And Patrick, yeah, he can be a little off. I'm with you. The deep ball accuracy when it comes to Worthy, it's Bo Nix. And again, Bo Nix does not have the resume or the equity built up to get the benefit of the doubt. So he misses them, we crush him. But 29 of 45, averaging 6 yards an attempt, had the one awful interception. He has 3 sacks. Now, part of that is they're one of the best pass rushing teams ever, but he also gets out of a lot of sacks. Here's who he's, obviously Kelsey has a huge game. Thornton, he hit on the one big pass. Hollywood, you take 4 for 40. Rashee Rice, 6 for 40. You like a little bit more explosion. He just missed a couple targets there. I mean, they need to be better. I don't know what to tell you.